We begin our journey in Thailand, a country notorious as a source, transit point, and destination for human trafficking. The driving factors behind this disturbing trend are numerous, from economic disparities and porous borders to a large migrant population and a booming sex tourism industry. The most vulnerable in society, including migrants, refugees, and children, bear the brunt of this exploitation. Next, we turn our attention to India, a country grappling with human trafficking on a massive scale. The root causes of this problem include poverty, gender inequality, caste-based discrimination, and a lack of adequate law enforcement resources. Forced labor, sexual exploitation, and domestic servitude are common forms of trafficking, particularly among marginalized communities and rural women and children. Brazil, a major destination and transit country for human trafficking, is our next stop. Here, the exploitation is rampant in sectors like agriculture, domestic work, and sex trafficking. Poverty, social inequality, corruption, and powerful organized crime networks contribute to the high trafficking rates. Nigeria, a source, transit, and destination country for human trafficking, presents its own set of challenges. Economic hardship, political instability, conflict, and weak law enforcement are all contributing factors. The practice of child marriage and human trafficking for ritual purposes also play a part in the high rates of trafficking. Russia, too, is a source, transit, and destination country for human trafficking. Victims are subjected to forced labor, sexual exploitation, and trafficking for organ removal. The contributing factors range from economic instability and corruption to organized crime and the vulnerabilities of migrant populations, including undocumented migrants and asylum seekers. China is another country facing a human trafficking crisis. Forced labor, sex trafficking, and the trafficking of women and children for forced marriage are common. Economic disparities, internal migration, gender imbalance, and a lack of effective legal protections for victims contribute to the high trafficking rates. Mexico is a source, transit, and destination country for human trafficking, with victims subjected to forced labor, sexual exploitation, and trafficking for the purpose of forced criminal activity. Poverty, corruption, organized crime, and weak law enforcement are among the contributing factors. Mexico has made efforts to combat human trafficking, including passing legislation and implementing programs to support victims. However, challenges remain in identifying and assisting victims, prosecuting traffickers, and preventing future cases. The Mexican government has collaborated with international organizations and other countries to address human trafficking on a global scale. Efforts to raise awareness, improve coordination among agencies, and strengthen legal frameworks are ongoing. In Cambodia, a source and destination country for human trafficking, exploitation is rife in industries such as construction, agriculture, and domestic work. Poverty, lack of education, political instability, and a history of conflict contribute to the vulnerabilities of marginalized populations, including women and children. Finally, we turn to the Philippines, a source, transit, and destination country for human trafficking. Victims are subjected to forced labor, sexual exploitation, and trafficking for online exploitation. Poverty, unemployment, lack of education, and the vulnerabilities of migrant workers and indigenous communities are among the contributing factors. The complexity of human trafficking is staggering, but understanding the factors that drive it is the first step towards combating it. Today we've explored the tip of the iceberg, but there's so much more to learn. Knowledge is power, and the more we know, the better equipped we are to fight back. So, delve deeper, educate yourself further about human trafficking, and support efforts to combat this heinous crime. Together we can make a difference.